G'day Year 11 and welcome to the next topic in terms of business, which is business management. Now we're going to be taking a look at the syllabus today and we're going to be looking at the two parts to it, students learn to and students learn about. Now in terms of students learn to, I explicitly teach you the students learn about, as does the textbook. And in theory, not always, so make sure you know each of these students learn to questions. But if you can do and be taught the students learn about, you should be able to do the students learn to. Hence, it's students learn to. Now, there are 7 students learn to that I want you guys to be able to make sure you can answer. We'll go through those first off. The first one there's my dog woofing at somebody. First one is to discuss strategies that could reconcile the conflicting interests of stakeholders. Now, stakeholders are groups of people who have an interest in a business. And each of them will have things they want in common, like the business to be profitable and do well, but also some differences of opinion. Reconciling means addressing them, fixing them, making all groups involved happy. One conflicting interest would be workers want high wages. Shareholders want high profits. Profit is total revenue minus total cost. Huge high wages often will result in less profits. How do you fix that? So we'll look at different strategies that can be used to be able to fix or address this conflicting interest. The second dot point is to compare and contrast different approaches to management. We'll teach you that in the students learn about throughout the course. And you've got the classical scientific approach to management, all right? Behavioral approach to management, and also the contingency, more current contingency approach to management that we will look at as well. So we're going to look at the similarities between those management approaches and the differences as well, those contrasts. But the next dot point will be to explain the benefits of quality management practices. And we'll be addressing what quality management is, difference between quality control, quality assurance, ongoing quality improvement, and talk about the benefits of having good quality in terms of your production processes and your management practices. All right, the fourth dot point we will address in terms of the students learn to identify the qualities of managers who have exhibited high personal ethical standards. So more and more ethics, highly ethical, perhaps not, but ethics more and more and morals is what customers are wanting to see. It's what workers inside businesses are often wanting to see as well. So we're going to identify the qualities of managers who show and exhibit these high personal ethical standards. All right. Next dot point, analyze different ways of coordinating key business functions for SMEs. So you have 4 different business functions. I'm not sure if you've looked at those in any great depth, but hopefully you've got ahead and have. We've got HR in no particular order, operations, finance and marketing. And it's important to be able to coordinate effectively each of these different business functions. This is in Year 12 deemed the interdependence of these business functions. All right, the third, last dot point for students learn to examine effective cash flow management. Things like cash flow statements, budgeting, and so on. Okay, factoring. These are different strategies and ways to have effective cash flow. Now, cash flow is simply, think of a bank account, money in, money out during that monthly period. Are you positive or is it negative? And if it is negative, putting in place strategies to be able to fix that or address that, such as overdrafts. All right, second last dot point, assess the role of income statements and balance sheets when describing the financial performance of a business. So I'm going to explicitly teach to you the 3 key financial statements. Cash flow I just mentioned, but income statements and balance sheets. Income statements are also called profit and loss statements, and they're going to be very useful and income statements, revenue statements, and profit and loss. There's the three names for them. Okay, and they're very good at being able to see whether a business is making a profit or a loss. Hence the term income, also profit and loss. And you look at your sales or revenue minus your costs of goods sold, giving you your gross profit, and then all your other expenses taken out gives you your net profit. And it's not hard, it's pretty straightforward, but we'll look at what they are and the role of them in a business. On the other side, the last financial statement, balance sheets. They both balance, the left and the right, because of the accounting equation. And we're going to take a look at assets equaling to liabilities and owner's equity, and having a look at how a balance sheet is useful in terms of financial performance of the business. Right, last student learn 2 dot point. We're going to explain how SMEs, which are small to medium enterprises, how they manage change effectively through management consultants, okay, and helping people, workers, feel comfortable with change, because that's one necessary part of life and of business. Now, so there are two aspects to the syllabus, students learn to, and what we're going to look at now, students learn about. Now, nature of management is the first subtopic of this particular topic, and it includes things like features of effective management. What are the features that make an effective manager? We're also going to take a look at the skills of management, those skills being interpersonal, effective communication skills, strategic thinking and vision, problem solving and decision making, flexibility and adaptability to change. Also, this notion of reconciling the conflicting interests of stakeholders that you saw earlier when we talked about these students learn too. So each of these skills of management we will explain to you, and also talk about how they're of benefit for a business. Under the nature of management, we'll look at achieving business goals. And we can achieve the different types of goals, such as increase profit, increase market share, growth to increase the share price, and these non-financial goals of social goals, like community service, and environmental goals. We're also going to take a look at achieving a mix of the above goals. So how do we get profits, but also achieve our social environmental goals? Those three things together, known as the triple bottom line. And we're going to take a look at how innovation, motivation, mentoring, and training, how these can improve staff involvement and help a business achieve those goals that I just mentioned. All right, the second part or subtopic, okay, of students learn about is management approaches. There are three different approaches to management. The old school approach is called the classical scientific approach. It says classical approach in a syllabus, but it's the classical scientific. And it looks at management as being a planner, an organizer, and a controller of the resources. Planning, organizing, controlling. And I need to see those three things defined and used in terms of, if you have an essay, a short answer question on the classical approach to management. Also, they have a very hierarchical organizational structure, like a school, principal, deputies, head teachers, and so on. And they have a very autocratic leadership style in terms of the boss is the boss, you do what they say. Very old school. Now, on the flip side, later on, the 90s kind of, they came up with the behavioural approach. Management is not there to plan, organise and control resources. They're there to lead, not to manage, to lead, to motivate, to effectively communicate. They have flatter hierarchy or teams-based structure. They have a democratic, or some textbooks say participative, leadership style. Now, moving on into the new millennium, they realise that a behavioural approach is not always so useful either. So a good mix between the two might be best. This is known as the contingency approach to management. And you adapt to changing circumstances. You are a manager that leads, motivates, and communicates, hopefully, but at times you need to plan, organize, and control. You might have a mixture between a hierarchy, but in some aspects have teams and flatter-based structures. It just depends. And that's the biggest word for contingency approach. It depends. You adapt to changing circumstances to use what best style suits what occasion. Now, the next subtopic is management processes. And this looks at coordinating key business functions and resources, what we deem in Year 12 interdependence. How finance relies on marketing, marketing relies on HR, operations relies on finance, and so on. How you need to coordinate all these functions together. Now, not surprisingly, we take a look at those 4 business functions. We look at operations. We look at the goods and or services they produce, what the production process is about. We call that in Year 12 the transformation process. We look at this notion of quality management in operations. Then we look at marketing as a business function. We identify what a target market is, discuss what market segmentation is and how to identify and target a specific market segment. And we take a look at the marketing mix, the 4 Ps. Then we look at finance, look at cash flow statements, income statements, and balance sheets. And in great depth, more than what we'd even do in Year 12. It gives you a good basis. We look at HR, human resources, look at recruitment, training, employment contracts, and separation, be they voluntary or involuntary. So look at those 4 key business functions. Now, the last part of management process is to look at ethical business behavior. Again, it's very, very important in today's business and global context. So we address what it means to be ethical. In business, what areas you can be ethical in. And we'll do YouTube clips on those. The last part of this topic, we take a look at management and change. There is constant change in business, and if you're not on top of that and riding that wave of change, then you are not going to succeed for long. We look at responding to internal and external influences, and we take a look at the difference between, again, internal and external, and how to effectively respond, take advantage of those influences to make them a positive impact. And we also take a look at manage and change effectively, how to identify the need for change. You don't want to have it already come over you and go, oh, didn't even realize the change had occurred and you're out of business. You want to figure out how to identify how to change, where you need to change, and so on. And put in place effective business information systems like financial statements, like MYOB accounting software, and so on. You want to set achievable goals, goals that can actually occur. You want to make sure that you can overcome resistance to change because there will be that inertia there. And it's very important sometimes to employ these things called management consultants to be able to assist you with changing effectively. All right, Year 11, welcome to the second topic. And we'll have further lessons coming soon so that you can watch those as well. Thank you. See you later. Goodbye.